as we speak, get an email from Netflix telling me what to watch. If I don't hear about Tiger King ever again, it'll be too soon. I do hope that, having taken this class, you all are kind of paying attention to how quickly that show has sort of spread like wildfire. And again, I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I'm sure it's great, but just the fact that like how you get that sort of like cultural consensus so quickly is still kind of quite astonishing. Okay, so finally, looking forward, controlling the content library. That example on 201, I think it's 201. Yeah, to 202, about how Netflix had Guardians 2, but not Guardians 1, is really important, because it kind of really shows the nuts and bolts of how kind of ridiculous and sort of arbitrary this all is, and how much of it's dependent on streaming and licensing rights, right? So the reason that 1 or 2 was included but not 2 or 1 was because of the 2012 deal, right, between Netflix and Disney, and the years it included. And then on 201 and 202, as a counter distinction, Gillen talks about what the precise clustering would be afforded by a Disney-owned service as opposed to a Netflix would be like, which is what we have now, which is Disney Plus, right? I also think that she mentions, actually let me just kind of get to the page, 202. This is a really great reading. Bear with me. Okay, partial paragraph at the beginning, 202. The successful slate of Marvel television programs co-produced for Netflix is supposedly secure, but that could change. And we know that it has in fact changed. That Marvel pulled the plug on every single one of the Netflix shows. Why? Because they can't have content for their competitor, right? Now, why am I kind of harping on about this? Because the canceling of Jessica Jones, right? Luke Cage, and then Iron Fist specifically, because after the kind of the backlash with the program, they had just started to switch the title character to go to I can't remember what her last name was, Jessica Henwick. But anyways, to a woman of color, right? So we have 3 shows, one led by a woman, one led by a black man, and another that's a to be led by a woman of color, and they were canceled. So my question is, for a conglomerate that's so committed to diversity, despite the fact that these had strong followings precisely because of its diverse representation, what does it mean that they canceled it, and canceled it primarily because of why? Because of the streaming issue, right? Because of a competitor. To me, those two things kind of don't line up, right? And yet, doesn't stop us from getting Disney Plus subscriptions, right? So, also important on another note is that this also lines up with Netflix's push towards original content in 2013, right? That this is a moment that these sort of negotiations are partially why it's not just that like House of Cards and Oranges, The New Black does so well, is that Netflix wants to be self-sufficient, right? And they had the deep enough pockets by that point to produce original content precisely like Tiger King that kind of reassures that they would be top of the food chain, at least for now, right? On 202, this is a recent enough book that they talk about the acquisition of Fox, right? Let's see, I think this is kind of important. That it wasn't just Disney that was vying for it, right? But that Comcast too would. Why? Because it enables them to deepen the library, right? So for Disney, more Marvel characters, the rights to the first Star Wars film, and isn't that fascinating that Lucasfilms might own Star Wars, but they don't own the first one, right? And so to complete the library, they need Fox, right? Other franchises such as Avatar and Night at the Museum, right? As well as and look at this other paragraph about like Modern Family, a Fox show broadcast on ABC. This Is Us, a Fox show on NBC. Empire, a Fox show on Fox, and then all these other shows. But it's like, like again, production, distribution, not the same thing, right? Finally, on 203, they talk about Comcast, Netflix, Disney, taste communities, and demographics. And I just want to leave this with one final, actually the closing bit should have been about Disney, how much do you care about diversity? Clearly, like, I need to work on my content, right? But anyways, I just want to kind of leave with the thought about, so how is it that people like Comcast and NBC Universal and Disney really think about us? And really, on an individual level, it goes back to the third man and thinking about the dots, in the amusement park. There is a way in which that we only matter in as much as how we can be clustered into a given demographic or into a given taste community. And this is what I do want you to think about, like, what does it mean? This is for me, let's say, like, it is important, that let's say I am an Apple user or a PS4 owner, right? But that's a two-way street, right? I am also acknowledging to Apple, right, that I am a brand loyal user, which means that I can also be oriented and guided in a particular way as well, right? Okay, I really enjoyed this reading. I hope you found it as useful as I did. As always, please let me know if you guys have any questions, and of course, let's kind of talk about it on the boards or on Moodle. So take care. Until next time.